the question arises, how can we tailor or mold or shape the program evaluation process according to the contextual needs of a language program? This is what we are going to analyze uh, in this topic, tailoring the evaluation to fit the context, right? We'll discuss the significance, and remember this article is written by Warwick B. Alley and published in the book The Second Language Curriculum, written by Robert Keith Johnson, right? Warwick Alley draws our attention towards an important aspect of, tailoring evaluation, how we can mold the program evaluation to meet the contextual needs. Well, before we discuss, I would just like to discuss its significance. Well, evaluation is a controlled experiment, which means that it's done in a very systematic way, in a well-designed and well thought out way, right? And it is actually helped by various principles of evaluation and various trained teacher and student sample. The principles are, for example, the use of questionnaires, the use of interviews or semi-structured interviews, or observation or textual data, right? So it involves a lot of variables, the program evaluation, but the question is how we can tailor it to the contextual factors, right? In this connection, there are various studies being carried on, and one of the studies is done in an ethnographic way. I mean, just in order to evaluate the program, what happens, some external agents or some colleagues, teachers, they simply walk into the classroom, sit behind the classroom, and they watch, they observe and see how actually the dynamics of classroom take place, and they give their conclusions whether the program is doing well or not. So this sort of evaluation technique is full of insights. I mean, it's very insightful since it gives first-hand experience about or first-hand knowledge about what actually is happening in the classroom. Remember, we need to be aware of the issues of being biased or being subjective or objective. This you could well understand when we will talk about the observation element. Well, realistically speaking, ethnographic studies, I do hold myself personally that they are very important one because they give us first-hand experience. I mean, there could be the question of objectivity or subjectivity attached to such studies, but practically speaking, there could be some problems. For example, the sample could be biased, or there could be cooperation issues. For example, the students might not be very well cooperative, or the teachers might be on annual leave, or some of them could be on maternity leave. So these are the issues which we need to be aware of when we are doing, ethnographic sort of observation, right? And the merits of language program can be well analyzed through this sort of evaluation. So it helps us make some thought or decisions about how the principles of language teaching are actually undertaken, whether the methodology being used by teachers, whether the vision of the program is implemented in a desirable way, whether the students have got resources which are feasible to them, if the teacher, for example, relying on authentic materials, whether they are feasibly available to the students. And what is to be avoided is like in this evaluation, we need to become aware of the biased sample. I mean, we shouldn't involve our own personal judgments. Rather, we should read more about ethnographic sort of studies and know about its implications, right? So what it helps evaluation in making judgments about evaluation, it helps revise the curricula, and it helps revise or tackle the contextual issues such as the wants, lacks, strengths, and weaknesses, or some of the social, political, and religious or cultural factors of the student. So ethnographic sort of evaluation is essential part of the language program design and needs to be considered while making decisions about program evaluation.